Call this meeting, Clinton City Council to order. Roll call, please.
Councilman Gann.
Here.
Councilman McBride.
Here.
Councilman Harrell.
Here.
Councilman Stamey.
Here.
Councilman Hatmaker. Councilman Fair.
Here.
Mayor Burton.
Do I hear approval for the agenda?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Prayer will be held by Councilman Gann, followed by a moment of silence for Mr. Mark Alderson.
For those who didn't know, Mark Alderson passed away this morning. We certainly want to remember his family. Let's begin with a moment of silence for Mark, and then we'll have prayer. Father, at this time of year, we come to thank you for the blessings that you've shared with us. It's not been the best of years, but we know you're there to be with us. We know that you're our support and our help. Be with us as city leaders, that we may make the appropriate decisions, that we may help our fellow citizens to make this an even better time than it has been. Lead, guide, direct us now as we make decisions that affect the city. Be with our community as we celebrate Thanksgiving and as we look forward to the Christmas season. Be with us in all we do, for us in thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. And let us all join together and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilman Gann. Do I hear a motion for approval of minutes of the previous meeting?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We will now recognize any citizens with any griefs or praises. Having none, we'll move along. Communications from the mayor. I don't have anything up here to communicate, so I'll move on from there. Committee reports. City School Board report.
Good evening. A
Good
couple
evening.
of updates regarding Clinton City Schools. We are still standing 66 days in, not that we're counting. But we currently have no classrooms that are closed due to positive cases at this time. We continue to be hit hard by household contact quarantines and quarantines due to outside of school exposure. We have seen a slight uptick in the number of student positives, but usually it is within a family. So one family will get it, and then all three children get it. But no classrooms are closed at this time. I have heard that there is quite the rumor going around that we will be going virtual after Thanksgiving, and so I'm going to debunk that myth. We do plan to open up brick and mortar on November the 30th. I do not know what the future holds, but our commitment and our goal from the get-go has been that brick and mortar instruction and face-to-face instruction is much more powerful than virtual. So we will continue to do everything in our power to keep the schools open brick and mortar as long as we can safely do so. We did make today was an in-service day, collaborative day for teachers, and we did make some tweaks to our mitigation plan to where what we found is when we were doing classroom quarantines, we felt like we could look at our seating arrangements and let the seating arrangements mirror each other wherever they are in the school, to where if we do have to quarantine, we're just quarantining a few kids instead of half of the class. And so we made some tweaks with that today. But again, we're taking it day by day. I know Roger just told me that Rome County has gone online for 2 weeks, and the blessing of Clinton City Schools is that we don't have middle and high schools, and that's really where the brunt of the student cases are coming from. Thank goodness elementary is not hit hard up to this point, and we'll knock on some wood, but hopefully we can keep our buildings open. Also wanted to let you know of a change that we have been working on for a few months, but as you know, at the beginning of the year, we partnered with the Boys and Girls Club out of Anderson County, and they came to Clinton Elementary School, and they opened up an after after-school program on site. And so as this semester has unfolded, we have really seen the benefit of their programming and their mission and the programming they're providing the kids. And so Roger and I have worked closely with Mike Swisher with the Boys and Girls Club, and their executive board met, and they have unanimously agreed that they would like to expand into North Clinton and South Clinton Elementary. So beginning in January, we will have an on-site after-school program at all 3 of our schools in partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. So Roger, do you have anything to say about that?
You know, one of the big reasons we looked at doing this also with the Boys and Girls Club, they're actually a certified, more like a daycare. The recreation program is not, it's a recreation program. We're only allowed to have the kids 3 hours a day. Last year when the schools went out, and if they go out again and go virtual, we cannot take the kids at the center. But the Boys and Girls Club can stay open and still take the kids. So it's really a big plus to our parents being able to partner with the Boys and Girls Club and use their ability to do that. That way, it definitely provides a good service to our citizens.
And so at this point, like I said, they'll be open for in-service days. They'll be open fall break, spring break for when the schools are shut down for those parents who need to work. They will have care for their kids, and then we're just hoping to increase the service just because we're able to offer it on site. And so we're going to let them use our facilities, and then, you know, obviously the parents can just come to the school and pick them up after work. And so great success with Clinton Elementary, and they have been wonderful partners to work with. So we look forward to expanding that and being able to accept more kids into those programs next semester. And then the last thing I'd like to share is that each year we belong to Tennessee School Board Association, TSBA, and they do an award ceremony once a year. This year it was done virtual. But they always choose one district out of the 146 districts across the state of Tennessee to recognize and give the Award of Excellence. And so we were proud that Clinton City Schools won the Award of Excellence this year at that award ceremony for the development of our Blaze Well-Rounded programs. And so congratulations to E.T. Stamey for helping our system win that award. We're waiting for a huge monetary donation to come through. It still hasn't yet, but I'm sure it's just like tapped away in the mail right now, and we'll get it any time now.
I got it in the mailbox today.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to add something to that. This is a great honor, and the kids are getting the attention that they desperately need, and I think that was why this was developed. But the support of the school board and Ms. Johnson, the director, and her central office staff, and then of course the people here in Clinton. That's really, the businesses have donated to this, so we remodeled the gym, which just helps in the PE and anything else you have in that gym. And the creative 7 sports and 300 kids that now involved in after-school activities, which hopefully they'll direct their way to Clinton High School someday. But we sent 5 to the Junior Olympics in Florida. Our basketball team is 55-9 the last 2 years. So I say this about every day. Stars were born at Clinton City Schools. And of course, we'll go at it 24/7. So thank you.
But no football.
I'm getting close.
Flag football.
Any questions for me?
Does anybody have any questions for Kelly? All right. Thank you.
Clarify one thing too, we are still doing the after school at the community center, and we're working with the Boys and Girls Club to actually expand that into the middle school age also.
Wonderful. Clinton Regional Planning Commission report, Councilman Gann.
The Regional Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals met on November 9th at 6 o'clock. The Board of Zoning and Appeals applicant Sycamore Sign Service requesting a 432 total square foot signage for property located at 320 Fox Family Lane for Tractor Supply. Our guidelines are 200 square feet, so this was quite a difference, and based upon probably the efficiency and the huge difference in size, that was declined, did not pass. The Regional Planning Commission applicant Charles Patterson requesting site plan review for Dollar Tree for property located at Tanner Lane. This is a new Dollar Tree store right very close to Walmart, and that was approved. Applicant West Tilly, Jimmy Taylor, requesting final site plan review for property located at 500 Baxter Avenue. This is a electrical supply company, and there were a number of questions about some of the things that had not been met yet. But I think they have met those, and it was approved subject to them meeting the requirements that were still needed to be met. James Stedman requesting final re-subdivision review for property located at 343 Blockhouse Valley Road. This is a division of property that will eventually result in some additional housing on Blockhouse Valley Road, and that was approved. Applicant Lynn Duncan requesting final re-subdivision review for property located at 917 Orchard Avenue. This also was a re-subdivision with hopes of development. So that was also approved. And then applicant James Gregory Anderson requesting site plan review for a new dental office for property located at Frank Price Boulevard. This is behind the Walgreens near the Tommy Hicks development there. And that was also approved. In addition, we looked at a draft on non-residential accessory structures, temporary, mobile, factory-built, or factory-assembled structures. And we made a couple of changes in it, and we're supposed to get perhaps a final draft next week from Joe Barrett, next month from Joe Barrett. So that will be, hopefully we're getting close on something there. Any questions?
Yes, Mr. Gann, can we go back to Tractor Supply just a second? Can they come back to the drawing board with a smaller sign? I'm thinking the more signage anybody on the interstate would help them.
Well, the problem probably is, one of them is vegetation from the side of the interstate. It's tough. They can go up. They've got another 20 feet on their application that they can go up, but we didn't feel like getting any bigger, but would help them over what they already have. And it was obviously a substantial increase over what our building codes allow.
Okay, and they've got a sign on the Fox Toyota.
They have a sign there, and they also have an upright sign.
Right.
And in fact, we encouraged them, go to the maximum of what we have, and I think it's 100 feet and 200 square feet.
Right.
Go to the maximum, but we didn't like the idea too much of a 425 square foot sign there on the side of the interstate.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Councilman Gann. The Clinton Utility Board report. There was an issue that came up at the CUB board meeting in regards to replacing lights on light posts. And I want to make sure that we get with Vaughn. I know I think the police officers would flag the poles that they saw. Am I making this up?
Sometimes, yeah, night shift complete. See one out, they'll flag it a lot of times.
Can we see about just getting that coordinated again? Because that's helpful. I mean, CUB's not often driving around town in the middle of the night, and I know that our patrolmen do. And just review that policy if that's best practices. I mean, that came up, and it's going to get addressed. And then also, it was mentioned what Mayor Burton had brought up, and General Manager Fay addressed that. And we feel, the board, I say we, I'm putting on my CB board hat on, that we've addressed growth and with the policy initiatives. And I believe threw me a curveball. I thought, I know there's utilities up there. I was thinking electric, but he's talking probably water, sewer. And it just takes a substantial amount of money. You're talking about $500,000 to do some of these pump stations. And what we're hoping to do is do that through the grant process, because it just gets really speculative about spending that type of money to benefit a developer. And then if you did it there, where else do you do it? And so we feel like the policies that are in place, we want to be pro-growth, we want to be smart growth, we want to be sustainable growth. I think everybody has different opinions about it, but I wouldn't want to wake up and see that we turned into Hardin Valley. It's a lot of traffic, a lot of, anyway, it was addressed. And then you've got the financials there if anybody's got any questions. But as you guys get approached, I've had several questions by council members. Please get them to me, and then I'll get them to the board, and I appreciate that, all the feedback. Any questions?
I'll just mention, I was at a get-together not that many nights ago with Chairman Fay, and it happened to be on the night that we had the winds howling everywhere, and he was keep watch on his phone as to how many outages and where, and I was amazed, and he was very happy about the lack of outages and how quickly they were dealt with CUB. And when you're dealing with 40 and 50 mile an hour winds and trees falling and everything, I commend CUB. I think they did a fantastic job of keeping power on them.
Yeah, they do. Thank you. Any other questions? Any other boards or committee reports? Councilman Gann, do you have anything else?
Not this time.
All righty. I'll go to the general government report, turn it over to city manager.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I really don't have anything on my report that needs action. I've just listed some facility operations and holiday closings that will be posted. Just want to take any questions if council has anything. I think we got a couple resolution ordinances later on that we can explain.
Any questions? Concerns?
Would like to give an update. I know last month Councilman Gann spoke about the museum director position coming over. We had over 60 applicants apply for that position. As of a few minutes ago, we've narrowed it down to 11. So really very qualified. We're going to be doing an interview process next week. We're in the process of setting that board up. Ashley Howe, who's the state museum director, is actually coming in and be part of the interview process. So she's going to help us. So we're kind of excited about that. We want to get somebody hired and in place by January.
Well, I have a question. There's some good pictures here of the bridge progress. And I know there's going to be bicycle trails on each side, and we got the Aspire Park, and people ride some down in River Bend, so, you know, people could tie that together. Any updates on the divider, though? You got people riding bikes on 4 foot with traffic coming either at them or behind them, depending on which way you go. But there needs to be some sort of divider there to protect the bicycle rider, right?
We spoke
Or
to
walker.
TDOT a year ago probably on that, and we actually sent them an email about 6 weeks ago reminding them of some of those issues of some type of delineator that will separate the 11 foot, which will be a kind of sidewalk, bike lane, and the pedestrian traffic. Have not got a definite answer back yet, but no, we'll keep pressing.
When you say
for something.
delineators, more something structured, though, to add a layer of protection to keep.
Well, structured, they told us it would be tough because it would have to be a redesign of the bridge. So we were just shooting for whatever we can get, really.
Okay.
Any other questions? Turn it over to Gail.
Yes, got that, Gail, sorry. Finance report.
Revenues and expenditures, really nothing new to report. They're on target. Sales tax, we were up almost 10% again, so we continue to look very good with sales tax. Countywide was up a little over 19%. I mentioned to Roger earlier, the thing that still concerns me is that when we look at just the rural, outside of any city limit of the county, they were up over 118%. And so I still have concerns that with this new law that went into place October 1, that maybe there's still some money that we're not getting, but I've not had any luck in tracking that down. So I'm still looking.
Go back and
into it.
say that statement again. I'm trying to digest that.
So when I say countywide, that means all cities and the county. That was up 19%.
Okay.
But when we say the outside of any city limit,
Got you.
so it would be
True county. I mean,
True
they're not a
county.
part of Oak Ridge, they're not a part of Lake City,
Right.
they're not a part of Clinton or Norris, they're true county.
It was up over last year 118%.
Is that a zip code?
I don't know. Used to, with the Department of Revenue, I could get a situs report for Anderson County, and I could look at it and see, okay, that's a city. Now, I can see what's in the city, but you're looking for what's not there, which is very difficult. I could get a county situs and see, okay, is there something there that should be in the city, and now I cannot get that. With this new law, I'm still trying to figure out, I've been told that the way it works is basically if you're an out-of-state vendor and you ship something to me, then the city of Clinton should get it. But if you ship something to someone on Dutch Valley Road, the county should get it. Now, my question is, how does that
How do they-
out-of-state vendor know
how do
that
they
we're about
know?
that same zip code?
Right.
Oh.
I don't know. And I've not been able to find an answer yet.
So is the answer, and what's the process for getting our own zip code?
My research has shown it has to start with the local post office, and that it's usually on the basis of a need for more of a volume need.
Not a monetary, not to break down money.
Exactly. And then basically the local post office goes through their process and it ends up going through, I think, a legislative process maybe, but it's a very extensive process. I don't know if we'd have any luck with that, and I'm not sure that's the answer. I don't know.
But the problem is these vendors don't know that Orchard Avenue is in the city limits
I'm assuming.
versus Dutch Valley, which is same zip code, but it's in the county.
Yes.
And there's no breakdown for that. I mean, I'm sure that would be, or is there a breakdown? Does the state have that breakdown? They just refuse to share it with us? Or would we have to, would the staff have to go through and say, okay, this is inside the city, this is not inside the city? I mean, would there be a way other than a zip code?
I don't know, because what I get on our situs is a lump sum number for out-of-state sales. So, excuse me, you have two different, if an out-of-state vendor actually registers with the Department of Revenue, then I see it. But there's a lot of them that aren't required to register. It's just based on who they ship to.
Are other cities running into this too?
I don't know. I haven't really had a chance to explore that yet. Department of Revenue is very, very difficult to get information from that.
That's a shocker.
What's your gut feel on, is this majority internet sales, or could it be even something else that we've not discovered yet?
I can't help but think it's something to do with the interstate sales, because it really started back in October when the law changed. And when we look at brick and mortar, for the most part, I always spot check every month looking for the major ones. And that's okay. And we watched to be sure Tractor Supply came on, and we finally got that resolved. And we continue every month or so, I'll find maybe one that's, so I don't think it's brick and mortar. But when you look at, I think this, from last month to this month, so August sales versus September sales. Sales tax in that particular location, I think there was a difference of about $200,000. That's sales tax. That's a lot of sales.
That's a big number to get to that.
And probably COVID increased those internet sales probably.
Right, and obviously if the city was getting revenue that should have went to the counties, I mean, I can't even speculate as to what a correct number is. I don't know.
With implementation of that, what is it, 10-digit zip code? You know, we've never used anything but 37716, and I put something in the other day, and all of a sudden 2017 pops up on the back of it.
Well, I wondered that. I don't know if that's how it's segregated or if it's up to, like I say, the vendor to determine. I don't know how an outside vendor or out-of-state vendor reports. So I'm still working on it. We'll see.
Can we contact the Lieutenant Governor's office and?
I think Gavin and I's discussion this morning, we'll probably try to start with the local post office first and see what we can get there. But it's definitely worth exploring 2 or 3 different avenues, maybe even as far as getting a different zip code for the city.
Getting a different zip code, but in the meantime, what if the Department of Revenue would to help a little bit? I mean, can we use the, I don't know if the Lieutenant Governor would help us or not, but we don't know till we ask, but could his office help? Is there a means there to help dissect that data even more?
I think there could. I
Now,
know,
Tractor Supply, so it took 2 or 3 months to get them?
Yes. we
So it
got-
goes to the county until we find it, or?
I'm not sure where it went. I never got an answer on that.
Wow.
This is a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
it is.
with a bunch of rabbits.
Yep.
I don't know. I
I'll
just
see
know
if
we
we-
didn't get it.
I'll see if we can implement that on the government community relations interaction with, through the chamber with the state. You know, we meet with all our representatives, and we put that on the hit list and say, hey, we need to really check, make sure internet sales tax is going where it's supposed to.
Well, and there was other reasons also, I guess it's been 4 or 5 years ago now, Chief Scarborough, some of the crime reports.
Crime
that
data
come out,
reporting.
Our 37716 goes halfway to Lake City, almost to Oliver Springs, really to the Oak Ridge borders, Claxton. So a lot of the crime that's showing in those TBI and FBI reports are really not happening in Clinton. But it makes it look like we got a bad crime rate here.
Yep.
So there's several different reasons it may be beneficial.
Yeah, I think that's good for staff, and I think that's what my direction, y'all.
Can you sort of just keep us abreast each month about that issue? Anything
The
else?
good thing is the school system gets some extra money, so, yeah, that's the good part. They do get their percentage of that, so.
Blaze program would probably like that.
Football,
It's not yours.
football mill.
Anything else, Gil? Okay. Roger, anything
That's
else?
all I have, my friend.
All right, moving to ordinances and resolutions. First reading of new ordinances, ordinance number 653, smoking at playgrounds. I'm going to read something from our partners over at ASAP of Anderson County. It's a statement from ASAP of Anderson and County about ASAP's Youth Ambassador Coalition for Smoke-Free Playgrounds. Dear Councilman, city staff, and citizens, several years ago, ASAP's youth ambassadors identified smoking in playgrounds as a barrier to health in our community, as secondhand smoke is a cause of disease in healthy non-smokers, responsible for the early deaths of 53,000 Americans annually, and smoking in playgrounds demonstrates to children a community norm of tobacco use. After years of advocacy, education, action, partnerships with other organizations, and support of municipalities like the City of Clinton, the preemption of local control of tobacco was repealed at the state level to allow local governments to prohibit smoking on the grounds of a playground by adopting a resolution or ordinance. ASAP is pleased to partner with the Anderson County Health Department to provide any signage needed to promote knowledge of any new restrictions that are adopted at no charge to the City of Clinton. Thank you for taking your time to discuss this matter and its benefits to the residents of Clinton. We apologize for not being able to attend the meeting in person due to COVID-related restrictions at our organization. Sincerely, Stacy Pratt, Project Director, and the ASAP Youth Ambassadors. All right. So, Roger, talk to us about Ordinance 653, smoking at playgrounds.
Several years ago, this used to be at the local level. For whatever reason, state legislatures passed a law saying, no, it has to be at the state level, and a city would have to petition to get this done. I think Oak Ridge did it 3 or 4 years ago. Well, through a lot of lobbying by ASAP and other TRPA, they did repeal that law, and now it goes back to the local governing body to decide whether or not they want smoking more or less in the parks and playgrounds. I think the law says playgrounds in any associated area, parking lots or grounds around it. So pretty much it's in any areas that kids will be playing. Personally, I feel like it needs to be there.
Okay.
I make a motion.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Is a motion a second? All right, any discussion? What constitutes playground? I mean, I don't like things that are vague. I mean, so is that gonna mean
State
that,
legislature's real good on vague, you know, the guns in parks, the law they passed 4 or 5 years ago is probably extremely vague. I would almost define it as any area probably where kids could or will be playing,
Basketball court?
pretty much, yeah.
so, when I'm thinking,
It's defined as
is it, I didn't look at it close enough. Can you read it for me, Mr. Rick? That definition of what,
As used in this section, playground is any indoor or outdoor facility that is intended for recreation of children.
so would that extend to the walking, I mean, I don't know, that's a big deal. I mean, I run out there all the time. I don't see a lot of people smoking in the boys' room, so.
I think there would be areas in the park you could smoke if you wanted to. I think, you know, the biggest areas we would have probably is actually the playground structures and/or
The ball
the
field?
ball fields around the bleachers and the dugouts, I think is where you have the biggest
Okay.
problem. And we'll post signage in those areas. But I think if you're in J.C. Park and you go over towards the fair building and stand and watch your kids, you're probably okay. So I don't think it would limit it completely, but just more around kids.
Does it address vaping, or is it just?
That's excluded.
Smoking means burning of tobacco
Okay.
product, hemp product.
Does not include the use of vapor products.
Okay.
It does define grounds too.
Yeah, grounds means the entire real property upon which a playground is located, as determined by property lot lines, including the parking areas and any permanent or temporary restroom facilities.
And it's punishable by what?
Since we're doing it by ordinance, it would be a municipal offense.
So
it would
it
be
comes
punished
from the
by
judge.
$50 fine probably
Right.
before the judge.
Okay.
If
Any
we did it
other-
by resolution, it wouldn't be, so that's why we did it by ordinance.
Roger that. Any other discussion or questions? Do we roll call this?
Yes.
Okay. Roll call,
Councilman
please.
Gann?
Yes.
Councilman McBride?
Yes.
Councilman Harrell?
Yes.
Councilman Stamey?
Yes.
Councilman Hatmaker? Councilman Fair?
Yes.
And Mayor Burton.
All right. So ordinance 653, smoking at playgrounds, passes on first reading. There is not a second reading, and we'll move on to adoption of resolutions. Resolution 802, acceptance of donated property for limited use. City Manager.
Was approached a couple months ago by our former mayor Kathy Brown. She has purchased some property on Market Street, which is actually the corner of Market and Freddie Fagan Way. Most people know it by the old taxi cab site. She has purchased that property and would like to donate it to the city with the same restrictions as we have on some of the other parks, that it become a park and used for recreation and education purposes only. So we need to really accept that from city council, then we can do the deed work and put those use of limitations on the deed. And pretty much some of the, you know, kind of what she wants is the gazebo, Christmas tree, and some of that stuff back on it, kind of have, it'd be like a pocket park, it's really what it's called today.
All right. Any, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? Is this a roll call? No? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, the resolution passes. Resolution 803, CUB in lieu of tax payments for fiscal year. City Manager.
Gail, I'll let you, she's worked on that one.
We do this every year for their in lieu of taxes. It's an increase of $66,667 over last fiscal year.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion and second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries. Moving on to resolution 804. City Manager, what we got here?
This is a resolution supporting the grant application for the LPRF, LWCF grant, which is one's federal grant, but it is for the renovation of J.C. Park Pool.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Couple comments on Facebook. It's not $1 million project, it's $500,000 project, right? the grant? Is this what we're talking about, the
We're
grant for?
looking, I think roughly around 650, but that's
Okay.
total project.
We applied for 690,000,
Right.
it's 50/50.
And that's with a contingency. The state really
Sure.
strongly recommended we put a contingency in there due to the process, length of the process.
And we're still jumping through hoops to apply.
Yes, the grant process, which was, the last one we done was 2 years ago on South Clinton Park, was
Right.
pretty strenuous, but they've even put more stipulations in that I think, I don't know about Oak Ridge, but I know besides Oak Ridge, we're the only city in the county applying for it because the stipulations are just
Good.
very,
What kind of time frame comes with the stipulations? Are we looking at multiple years before this is fixed, or?
like I said, the process this year, there was a pre-application process that was due in a couple weeks ago.
About 3 weeks ago.
We passed that, so now we're in the application process. It's due in December the 8th. Once we get it, I'm really not sure after that.
I would just, I don't want it set and tore up for multiple years, I guess, is my
Well,
only thing. I mean, we have a good,
Mhm.
you know, fund balance for things, and I don't know, at one time we talked to be a pool with a joint splash pad. Is that still
we've got a couple different designs, yes.
in the price tag?
Have you read the
we think?
Courier?
You know, and that's one thing I told the courier.
I just asked.
If anything good come out of the COVID, we wouldn't have been open this summer anyway, and the way it's looking, may not be next year, so it gives us some time to really do it and do something nice. And that's another recreation advisory, and everybody's thinking they wanna have something up there that people wanna come to. So that's why we're looking at a combination, having a nice pool and a splash pad.
Yeah, front page.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So do we have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion and second. Okay, do we already have one?
Yeah.
All right, we
Problem.
were in discussion. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution carries and passes. Old business. City manager.
Update, I talked to Jason Stokes earlier today, Main at Mill, slowly but surely, they've been working. He was out this weekend, so they were there both Saturday and Sunday. He's worked with them and another contractor to start hauling some dirt in, topsoil, to fill in the lower part, so we hope to see that real soon. But like I said, it's slow, steady, but it's looking a lot better.
In this cleanup, anything in the aluminum building, I noticed they've
They're
taken a
actually
lot of,
renting it. They have a trucking company using it.
but there's a lot of stuff leaving. I just wondered if it was a part of the.
No, I think it's
Okay.
whoever's leasing it.
Any other old business? New business.
Update on Carden Farms. I know it's not new business, but how's that?
Public Works has been working, which they just started a couple weeks ago, their leaf pickup, so that'll slow down. And we've also had some cases of COVID hit in our Public Works, so that's kind of slowed stuff down too. But that's kind of par for all our departments. We're being very cautious.
Good. All right.
Roger, can we go back to old business real quick? And can you make a comment or two? I've been asked about the Christmas parade and why we took the actions that we took. Can you just sort of give some more depth and comment to the decisions that led up to us deciding that we weren't going to have the parade?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much was a joint decision between us and the chamber. The chamber, we met, I guess it's been a month ago now, with the department heads and the chamber. One issue, and it's a pretty big one, the chamber, which actually organizes it and everything, we just support them. They wasn't getting any volunteers this year. Nobody wanted to come out and participate due to the COVID, so that was one big reason. Second reason was, of course, the COVID and being able to social distance. Under the governor's Tennessee pledge, he had some guidelines there that was pretty strenuous that we couldn't meet. One of the things was make your route longer. Really no way we could do that. There was no being able to throw candy or hand anything out that's typically a big hit at it. So with most of that and just the fear of the COVID spiking up, which it has, and we were probably one of the first to decide to go ahead and postpone it this year. I know since last week, Oliver Springs, Norris, and Rocky Top have canceled theirs. I got an email today, Roane County, Harriman, Kingston, Rockwood, Oliver Springs have all canceled theirs too. So it's pretty much everybody's doing it. I know Oak Ridge is doing a reverse one. We talked about that. They're doing it on a divided highway that makes it pretty easy. Really, we didn't have an opportunity to do that even.
Yes,
And
sir.
a neighbor asked me, as COVID came up, as far as a citywide mandate for masks. That would be under the county's purview, Mayor, correct?
Right now, the governor has handed that down to the county mayors. Some cities have requested that he change that and hand it down to the cities, but he has not done that.
Okay,
So it's totally up to the county mayor.
thank you.
All right. Any other business that needs to come before this council? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Pretty hard.